The divorce papers sat between us like a declaration of war. Vanessa smiled, thinking she had won, thinking she would walk away with half of an $80 million fortune and start her authentic life with a penniless lover. But she had forgotten one crucial thing. I am a cybersecurity expert. I know everything, and what I had prepared would completely destroy the perfect world she imagined. My name is Robert Lawson. I am 43 years old, and I built Lawson Cybersecurity Solutions from nothing into a company worth $80 million. I started in my garage with $5,000 borrowed from my father, and now we employ 300 people across 4 states, Texas, Colorado, Arizona, New Mexico. We design security software for Fortune 500 companies, the kind of systems that protect everything from banking data across the Southwest region to government contracts with Texas state agencies. My clients pay premium prices because I am the best at what I do. And that precision, that attention to detail, was about to become very important in ways Vanessa could not possibly imagine. I met Vanessa Clark at a charity fundraiser 16 years ago. She was 26 then, working as an event coordinator for a nonprofit organization. Beautiful in that effortless way, with auburn hair and blue eyes that seemed to hold promises of forever. She wore a green dress that night, and when she laughed at my jokes about computer programmers, I thought I had found someone who understood both sides of me, the businessman and the nerd. Our wedding was small but elegant, just family and close friends at a vineyard on the Sonoma coast in California. Vanessa looked like something out of a dream walking down that aisle, and I remember thinking I was the luckiest man alive. We honeymooned on the Amalfi Coast in Italy, spent 2 weeks exploring coastal towns and planning our future over wine and seafood. She wanted to open her own event planning business, and I was more than happy to fund her dreams. For 14 years, everything seemed perfect on the surface. We lived in a custom-built home in Riverside Estates in Austin, Texas, the kind of place that made other successful couples envious. 6 bedrooms, infinity pool, and a view of the hill country that took your breath away every morning. Vanessa's business flourished, planning high-end weddings and corporate events for Austin's elite. We traveled to Europe twice a year, owned a beach house in the Outer Banks of North Carolina, and hosted dinner parties that were talked about for months afterward. But about 18 months ago, something shifted. Vanessa started working later, taking calls in other rooms, smiling at her phone in ways that made my stomach twist. When I asked about it, she would wave me off with explanations about demanding clients and difficult vendors. The excuses were always reasonable, always logical, and I wanted to believe her because the alternative meant everything I had built was a lie. Then came the changes I could not ignore. New workout classes that required expensive athletic wear from Lululemon at the Domain, a sudden interest in organic cooking and meditation retreats, weekend conferences that seemed to multiply like weeds. Each explanation was perfectly reasonable on its own, but together they formed a pattern I could not unsee. The real evidence came from my own security systems. Ironic, is it not I designed software to protect corporations from data breaches? But I never thought I would use those same skills to monitor my own wife. But when you work in cybersecurity, you notice things. Digital footprints, metadata, the kind of information most people do not even know they are leaving behind. Vanessa's credit card statements told a story she was not sharing with me. Expensive lunches at restaurants in downtown Austin I had never heard of. Places like Uchi and Justine's Brasserie. Hotel bookings in our own city. The W Austin and Hotel Van Zandt. Why would someone need a hotel room 30 minutes from home? Then there was the GPS history on her car. I had installed a tracking system years ago for security purposes, never thinking I would use it to track her movements. But there it was. An address in the East Austin Arts District, a downtown coffee shop at odd hours, places that did not match her business calendar. The biggest red flag was her phone behavior. Vanessa used to leave her phone everywhere. Kitchen counter, bathroom sink, bedside table. Now it was glued to her hand, always face down. Password changed to something I did not know. She had developed this habit of taking it everywhere, even to the bathroom during dinner. And when it buzzed with notifications, she would jump like she had been caught stealing. But I did not confront her. What was the point? If someone wants to leave, they are going to leave regardless of what you say or do. And honestly, part of me was curious to see how far she would take the charade. How long she would keep lying to my face while planning her exit strategy. The morning she handed me those divorce papers, I felt something close to relief. Not because I wanted our marriage to end, but because the pretending was finally over. No more wondering if I was imagining things. No more second-guessing myself when she came home with stories that did not quite add up. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our story. Do not forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let us know where you are watching from. And please note, this story contains some fictional elements to enhance the experience and educational value. Any names or settings that happen to match real life are purely coincidental, but the message is completely real. It was a Tuesday morning in October when Vanessa walked into my home office carrying an envelope. I was reviewing a security proposal for a banking client, and she just stood there in the doorway holding that envelope like it was a grenade with the pin already pulled. "Robert, we need to talk," she said, and her voice had that rehearsed quality people get when they have practiced a speech in their head. I saved my work and turned to face her. She was wearing yoga clothes, the expensive kind from Lululemon. A single outfit that cost $400. Her hair was pulled back in a ponytail, and she had that glow people get when they are about to do something they think will change their life for the better. "What is up?" I asked, keeping my tone casual. She walked over and placed the envelope on my desk, right next to my coffee mug. Not accidentally, mind you. Vanessa was always precise about these things, staging every moment for maximum impact. "I want a divorce." "Robert," she announced, still not quite making eye contact. She was fidgeting with her water bottle, unscrewing and rescrewing the cap like it was the most important task in the world. I picked up the envelope and looked inside. Divorce papers already filled out with my name, her name, and neat little yellow sticky notes marking where I needed to sign. She had been planning this for weeks, maybe months. Every detail was organized, precise. She thought this through. "All right," I said, reaching for a pen. "Works for me." The silence that followed was something else. I could practically hear the gears grinding in her head as she processed my response. She had probably rehearsed this scene a dozen times, maybe even practiced it in front of her bathroom mirror, but I am guessing none of her rehearsals included me just agreeing without a fight. I started signing the papers, one page at a time. My signature looked the same as it always did. Steady, clear, no shaking hands or dramatic flourishes. Just Robert Lawson handling business efficiently. "That is it?" Vanessa finally asked, her voice pitched higher than normal. "You are not going to ask why you are not going to fight for us?" I looked up at her then. Really looked. She was beautiful. No denying that. At 41, she could still turn heads when she walked into a room, but there was something different in her eyes now. Something that had been growing for months. Distance, maybe, or guilt wearing a mask of excitement. "Should I fight for us?" "Vanessa," I asked, keeping my voice level, "because from where I am sitting, it looks like you have already made up your mind about everything." She opened her mouth like she was going to say something, then closed it again. I finished signing the last page and slid the papers back across the desk to her. "There you go," I said, picking up my coffee. "All set." Vanessa stood there for another minute, clearly waiting for me to break down or beg her to reconsider. When that did not happen, something shifted in her expression, confusion mixed with what might have been disappointment. "I have met someone," she said finally, and now there was defiance in her voice. "Someone who actually understands me, someone who cares about more than just money and business deals." "Good for you," I replied, turning back to my computer. "I hope he makes you happy. His name is Ethan," she continued, apparently determined to get some kind of reaction from me. "Ethan Cross. He is an artist, a real artist, not some corporate sellout. He lives simply, authentically. He does not care about material things or status symbols. He loves me for who I am, not for what I can do for him." I nodded, still looking at my screen. "Sounds perfect. That is all you have to say." Vanessa's voice was rising now, frustration bleeding through. "After 15 years, that is your response?" I turned back to face her, and for the first time since this conversation started, I let her see what I was really thinking. "Vanessa, you want to know what I think you have been cheating on me for at least 6 months?" I think Ethan Cross is probably a struggling artist who cannot afford his own rent. And I think you have convinced yourself that trading financial security for romantic poetry is somehow noble and authentic. But sure, let us pretend this is about true love and not about you having a midlife crisis. Her face went white, then red. How dare you? You do not know anything about Ethan or what we have together. I know he lives in a studio apartment in the East Austin Arts District, I said calmly. I know he owes $47,000 in student loans and another $12,000 in credit card debt. I know his car was repossessed 3 months ago, and he has been borrowing money from his parents to make rent. Want me to keep going? Vanessa stared at me like I had just spoken in a foreign language. You had me investigated. You hired someone to spy on me. I did not have to hire anyone. I replied, I built security software. Remember, digital footprints are kind of my specialty. Your phone's GPS, credit card statements, email metadata. It is all there if you know where to look. You are disgusting, she spat, invading my privacy like that. This is exactly why I am leaving you. You are controlling and paranoid, and you cannot stand the idea of me having my own life. I stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the manicured lawn and the pool with the hill country view in the background, where we used to host summer parties. You know what is funny? Vanessa, I am not even angry. I am just tired. Tired of pretending I do not notice when you come home smelling like someone else's cologne. Tired of acting like I believe your stories about late client meetings. Tired of being married to someone who checks out emotionally, but still expects me to fund her lifestyle. My lifestyle, Vanessa laughed bitterly. You act like you have been doing me some huge favor all these years. Like I should be grateful for the house and the cars and the vacations. Aren't you? I asked, turning to face her. Because last time I checked, your event planning business operates at a loss. Has been for 3 years now. The only reason you still have a business at all is because I have been quietly transferring money into your accounts to cover expenses. Did you think your clients were suddenly paying triple what they used to? Vanessa went very still. What are you talking about, your business? Vanessa, it has been hemorrhaging money since 2021. Bad investments in inventory, overpaying for venues, hiring too many staff members you could not afford. I have been covering your losses because I thought we were partners. Turns out I was just the bank. She grabbed the edge of my desk like she needed support. You are lying. I pulled up a spreadsheet on my computer and turned the screen toward her. Here is every transfer I have made to your business accounts over the past 3 years. $180,000 total. Want to see the receipts? Vanessa stared at the numbers, her expression shifting from defiance to confusion to something that might have been shame. But it passed quickly, replaced by anger. You were trying to control me, she said, making me dependent on you so I could not leave. I was trying to support my wife's dreams. I corrected, but believe whatever narrative helps you sleep at night. She gathered up the signed divorce papers, holding them against her chest like a shield. Ethan and I are going to build something real together, something based on love and respect, not financial manipulation. I genuinely hope that works out for you, I said, and I meant it. Not because I wished her well, but because I knew exactly what was coming next, and watching her realize the truth was going to be far more satisfying than any argument. Vanessa walked to the door, then turned back one more time. Oh, and Robert, I am keeping the beach house, our property in the Outer Banks. My lawyer says I am entitled to half of everything, including the properties. I smiled. We will see what the lawyers say. After she left, I sat down at my desk and made a phone call I had been planning for weeks. Diana, it is Robert, I said when my assistant answered. It is time to execute phase 2. Are you sure Diana Torres had been my executive assistant for 8 years? She knew everything about my business and quite a bit about my personal life. More importantly, she was efficient, discreet, and completely loyal. I am sure. Let us start with the credit cards. All of them, every single one that is in my name. Cancel them immediately. What about her mother's medical coverage? That was the nuclear option. Linda Clark, Vanessa's mother, had been diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis 5 years ago. The medication she needed cost $3,000 a month, and I had been paying for it through my company's extended health plan. Vanessa knew this, She just did not think I would ever use it as leverage. Cut it off, I said, effective immediately. And the house? Change the locks tomorrow morning. Have a locksmith there at 8 in the morning. And Diana, make sure everything is documented. Photos, timestamps, everything. I want a record of exactly when and how each action was taken. Consider it done, Diana said. Anything else? Yes. Transfer $500,000 from the joint account to my personal account. Leave enough for her to cover this month's expenses. But that is it. And cancel the credit line for her business. No more transfers, no more cash injections. She wants independence. She can have it. The next morning, Vanessa called at 7:30 in the morning. I let it go to voicemail. She called again at 7:45. Voicemail by 8:15. She had called 6 times and sent a dozen text messages, each one more frantic than the last. The text started out angry. What the hell did you do to my credit cards? Then confused. Why is not my car key working? Did you change something? Then panicked. Robert, this is not funny. I have a meeting with a client this morning, and I cannot get into the house to get my files. Then desperate. Please call me back. We need to talk about this like adults. I deleted each message without responding and went about my morning routine. Shower, coffee, news by 9 in the morning. Diana called to confirm everything was in motion. The locks are changed. She reported, I have photos of the locksmith's work and timestamps for everything. The credit cards are canceled. The joint account has been adjusted, and I just got confirmation that Linda's medical coverage has been terminated. Perfect. What about the beach house already handled? I had a property management company change the locks there yesterday evening. They have also been instructed not to allow Vanessa access without written authorization from you. Excellent work. Diana, there is more, she said, and I could hear the satisfaction in her voice. I did some digging on Ethan Cross like you asked. Want to know what I found? Tell me everything. Ethan is not just broke. He is spectacularly broke. He owes money to 3 different credit card companies, has a judgment against him from a former landlord, and his bank account is currently overdrawn by $400. But here is the interesting part. He has been dating Vanessa for 7 months, but he has also been seeing at least 2 other women during that same period. You are kidding. I have screenshots from his social media accounts, photos with a woman named Olivia Bennett from 3 weeks ago, very romantic, and another woman named Michelle Harper from last month. Both posts are public. By the way, Ethan is not exactly subtle about his social life. I felt a cold satisfaction settling in my chest. Send me those screenshots, already in your email. There is more, though. Ethan has a pattern. He targets successful women, love bombs them with artistic authenticity and emotional depth, then slowly starts borrowing money, small amounts at first, then bigger. I found records of him doing this with at least 4 women over the past 6 years. So he is a con artist, a very charming con artist. According to the women I spoke with, they all thought they had found their soulmate right up until he disappeared with their money. I pulled up my email and looked at the screenshots Diana had sent. Ethan with Olivia at an art gallery opening, holding hands and looking deep into each other's eyes. Ethan with Michelle at a beach bonfire, his arm around her shoulders, and in several photos, Ethan wearing expensive clothes that he definitely could not afford on an artist's income. Diana, you are a genius. Just doing my job. Want me to send these to Vanessa? Not yet. Let her figure things out on her own first. I want her to really commit to this fantasy before I show her the truth. By noon, Vanessa had left 11 voicemails. I finally listened to one just to gauge her mental state. Robert, I do not know what kind of game you are playing, but this is serious. Her voice was shaking. I tried to buy groceries this morning, and my card was declined. All of my cards were declined. And when I went home to get my checkbook, I could not get into the house. The locks are different. Did you seriously change the locks? And my mother just called me crying because her insurance company says her coverage was terminated. Robert, she needs her medication. This is cruel and vindictive, and I will not let you get away with this. Call me back immediately. I deleted the message and called Diana back. Status update. Vanessa's mother called her insurance company 17 times this morning. She is currently trying to figure out how to pay for her medication out of pocket. Vanessa herself has been calling various locksmiths trying to find someone who can get her into the house. I took the liberty of alerting all the local locksmith companies that the property owner, that is you, has explicitly forbidden unauthorized entry. Beautiful. What about her business accounts? The credit line has been frozen. She tried to access funds this morning to pay her staff and discovered she is $25,000 short. She is currently scrambling to figure out how to make payroll. And Ethan, according to his social media, he is currently at the Canvas Cafe in East Austin, posted a photo of his latte 20 minutes ago with the caption, "Living my best authentic life." No mention of Vanessa or any drama. I had to laugh at that. While Vanessa's world was imploding, her soulmate was drinking overpriced coffee and posting about authenticity. If you are still watching up to this point, please comment the number 1 to let me know you are still here with me. And please note, the story ahead contains some fictional elements and may not be entirely true. If you do not want to continue, you can stop the video right here. My phone buzzed with another call from Vanessa. This time I answered, "Robert." Her voice was raw with emotion. "What the hell is wrong with you?" "Good morning, Vanessa. How is your day going? Are you serious right now? You locked me out of my own house. You canceled my credit cards. You cut off my mother's medication. What kind of monster does that?" "The kind who got served divorce papers yesterday," I replied calmly. "You wanted your independence." "Vanessa, I am giving it to you. This is insane. This is abuse. Actually, it is just practical. See, all those credit cards, they were in my name, the house, solely in my name, your mother's medical coverage through my company's insurance plan. You wanted a divorce, which means we are no longer partners. So I am simply protecting my assets and ending financial obligations that are no longer my responsibility. You cannot just cut off my mother's medication. She needs that to function. Then I suggest you figure out how to pay for it yourself. Is not that what independence means, standing on your own 2 feet? Vanessa was crying now, her voice breaking. "Robert, please. I know you are hurt, but this is going too far. My mother has not done anything to you. You are right. Linda has not done anything to me. But you have. You cheated on me. You lied to me. And you tried to steal half my assets. So here is what is going to happen. Vanessa, you are going to figure out how to live the authentic life you wanted with Ethan. And I am going to protect everything I have built. I cannot afford. That is not my problem anymore. You made your choice. Now live with it." I hung up before she could respond. My phone immediately started ringing again, but I turned it off and went back to work. Over the next 3 days, I watched Vanessa's carefully constructed world fall apart through a combination of security camera footage and updates from Diana. She tried to get into the house twice, both times being turned away by police who confirmed that I was the sole owner and had every right to deny her access. She maxed out the one credit card I had left active, the one that had a $500 limit, and she discovered that without access to her business accounts, she could not make payroll, which meant 3 of her employees quit on the spot. But the real turning point came on day 4 when Ethan's true colors finally showed. According to Diana's sources, which included a very helpful barista at the Canvas Cafe, Vanessa had gone to see Ethan in a panic. She needed money, needed help, needed her soulmate to be the man she thought he was. Ethan's response was to suggest she ask her wealthy husband for money. "But we are getting divorced," Vanessa had apparently said. "That is the whole point." "Yeah, but he has got millions," Ethan had replied. "Cannot you just ask him nicely, tell him you will be nicer during the divorce if he helps you out now?" When Vanessa tried to explain that I had cut her off completely, Ethan had gotten uncomfortable. "Look, babe, I love you and all, but I cannot really help you financially right now. I am between commissions and my parents just cut me off too. Maybe you should try to work things out with Robert, at least until you get your half of the assets." Vanessa had left Ethan's apartment in tears, finally understanding what I had known for months. Ethan was not her soulmate. He was just another user who saw her as a meal ticket. Except unlike me, he could not even provide the meal. On day 5, Vanessa showed up at my office. Diana tried to stop her, but Vanessa pushed past security and barged into my private conference room where I was meeting with a client. "Robert, we need to talk," she said, and she looked terrible. Hair unwashed, makeup smeared, wearing the same clothes from 2 days ago. I excused myself from the meeting and led Vanessa to my office. She collapsed into a chair, and I could see she had been crying for days. "I made a mistake," she said quietly. "A huge mistake. Ethan is not who I thought he was, and I see now that I took you for granted. I took everything for granted." I sat down across from her and waited. "Can we please talk about this, like reasonable adults?" Vanessa continued. "I know I hurt you. I know I betrayed your trust. But Robert, we were together for 15 years. That has to count for something." "It did count for something," I said, "right up until you decided it did not. I want to work things out. I want to go to counseling, rebuild what we had. Please. Robert, I am begging you." I pulled out my phone and showed her the screenshots Diana had sent. Ethan with Olivia at the art gallery opening, holding hands and looking deep into each other's eyes. Ethan with Michelle at the beach bonfire, his arm around her shoulders. Ethan's pattern of targeting successful women over the past 6 years and draining their bank accounts. Vanessa stared at the photos, her face going from pale to gray. "He said I was special. He said he had never felt this way about anyone. He says that to all of them." I replied, "You were not special. Vanessa, you were just the next Mark." She started sobbing then. Really sobbing. The kind of crying that comes from having your entire worldview shattered in a single moment. "What am I going to do?" she asked through tears. "I cannot pay my staff. I cannot access my business accounts. I cannot even get my clothes from the house. And my mother needs her medication. Robert, she is in so much pain without it." I leaned back in my chair, studying the woman who had once promised to love me forever. "Here is what is going to happen. Vanessa, you are going to sign a new agreement. You get nothing from me except what I decide to give you. No house, no cars, no business support. In exchange, I will restore your mother's medical coverage and give you $50,000 to start over. You take that money, you move out of town, and you never contact me again except through lawyers. That is not fair. I am entitled to half of everything. You are entitled to what you can prove you contributed, and since your business has been operating at a loss for 3 years, since the house was purchased before we married with my money, and since I can prove you committed adultery, I do not think a judge is going to be very sympathetic. But take your chances if you want. Spend the next 3 years in court battles while your mother suffers without medication and your business collapses completely. Or take my offer and walk away with some dignity intact." Vanessa sat there for a long moment, and I could see her calculating, trying to find an angle, trying to figure out if there was any way to salvage more from this wreckage. "I will take the offer," she said finally. "Smart choice. Diana will have the paperwork ready by tomorrow. Sign it, take your check, and disappear." Vanessa stood up slowly, like she had aged a decade in the past 5 days. "I really did love you once. You know, I said, and I really did love you. But love is not enough when one person is living a lie. Thank you for staying with us until this point. Please comment the number 2 to let me know you are still here with me. And please be advised, the story ahead contains some fictional elements, created for educational purposes. If you do not want to continue, please feel free to exit and choose other content that suits you better.